today we would be having a couple of more attendees as well. So hopefully they should join in a couple of more minutes. So thank you all for joining the webinar today. We'll be talking about how you can increase your conversions with ChatGPT. And before we start, I'll tell you a little about Manifest. We are a bunch of young, intelligent folks who are on a mission to benefit e-commerce with AI. We are backed by Sequoia and YC. And before we dive in deep into the webinar, so I would like, before we dive into the webinar, I would like to introduce Manish, who is our speaker for today. He is the e-commerce AI expert at Manifest. So I will hand it over to Manish. He'll introduce himself and we can get the webinar started.
Thanks a lot, Pshita. And again, thank you everyone for joining. It's really great to see you all here. And Kevin, I think super impressed by the work you're doing and really love the name. Water Monster is a really cool name for what you do. It clearly states the business. Great, I think we can get started. I think Ipshita can just help me share my screen. But yeah, I think while we are at it, just wanted to kind of set the agenda for today, right? And yeah, I think it largely kind of revolves around the problem statement, which Kevin here mentioned as well, right? All of us, we run Shopify stores, right? And again, one thing which all of us kind of put in our hearts, put in our souls to do is to make sure that we get traffic to our stores. But that is not the end of the game. That is where actually the problem kind of begins. Once we have those feet at our websites, that is when we need to think about how to maximize the conversions. And that is exactly what we are here to discuss. How we can all use AI to increase the conversions of all the traffic we get on our websites, which ultimately will help you reduce your customer acquisitions costs and again increase and boost your business revenues. So yeah, we can get started. Let me just share my screen. And yeah, I think before we begin, just a quick introduction about myself. I'm an engineer graduated from a Premier Institute of Technology here in India. And before joining Manifest, I've been a management consultant for a couple of years, worked with a few management advisories, again, largely in the power and government advisory space in India, and also worked with a bank, Deutsche Bank, if you have heard of it. But that is when I kind of also came in and joined BIC, right? And BIC, what we've all been working here is how we can build marketing and automation platforms for e-commerce stores. And the experience there kind of helped us appreciate and understand what are the problems, what are the biggest problems being faced by e-commerce stores, and how we can again, before the launch of AI and the GPT revolution, we looked at ways in which we can increase conversions and what is the pain felt by brands who are unable to convert the traffic which they acquire by spending loads and loads of dollars, right? So that is how this all started. And with the AI revolution coming in, with OpenAI going out with GPT and ChatGPT, that is where we saw this opportunity, how we can leverage AI to increase conversions and the business revenue. But yeah, apart from that, again, I'm a person who loves adventure. Here you can see a picture of me from the Himalayan mountain range. So I love hiking, and yeah, whenever I get time, just try to head out, play some sports. I love squash and badminton, and also to go for a swim at times. So that's just a quick introduction about myself. But yeah, let's get started with why we're all here, right? And let me start by just putting down the agenda about what you will take away from this discussion here. And again, like Ipshita mentioned, it would be really great if we can have an interactive session. We can all, again, share our problems, share our insights, share methods which might have worked for us, right? And help and understand what uh, are the core problems which stop brands from maximizing their conversions, right, on the Shopify websites, how we can address those problems with the power of GPT and AI. Again, after that, we'll also come to the most interesting part. This part I love the most, about a few real life use cases, about how other brands are doing that. how they are using AI to increase the conversions on their store. And ultimately, we'll end with what is the business impact for you? What is in this for you? What do you have to benefit from this? And how you can also power your store with GPT. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Again, before we start, just a quick question for all of you. Would love to hear your answers. But what do you think are the core problems to maximize Shopify conversions? Problems and ways in which we can maximize conversions. And please feel free to drop in your thoughts in the chat or just unmute and speak up. Okay, we have a message in the chat. It says Shopify UI maybe. That is a fair point. I think I agree with that. Uh, Again, the look and feel, the appeal, the visual appeal of the store does have a great impact on this. It kind of leaves that first impression with your customers, and that has a big impact on maximizing conversions. But any more thoughts on this? What do you think could be ways to maximize Shopify conversions? Sure, we have a couple more entries in the chat. Uh, right. So Jatin Budlani says understanding customer queries. Michelle O'Neill says making it easy for customer to find what they're looking for. Again, Michelle, Jatin, absolutely agree with you, right? The crux of both your messages, I feel, is similar. Understanding what your customers require and making it as simple as possible for them to find what they want, right? Customers, again, are really impulsive behaviors at time. And we as brands need to make sure that our customers can find what they're looking for. And we are able to understand what they're looking for so that we can help them get to that means. Uh, Marcy Klein says finding the right product for their needs. Again, absolutely agree with that. Uh, at the core of this, we need to understand what the requirements of each customer are. And again, the customers landing on our websites can be very diverse, right? It could be, say, some impulsive weekend shopper who just sees an ad, lands on your page, wants to get a quick deal, or could be, say, somebody who's a very thorough researcher, wants to go through all the details, has lots of questions about each product, and then makes the best choice. But again, in order to maximize conversions, we need to make sure that we are able to tailor an experience for each of them. Again, Michelle, exactly like you said, a personalized and tailored experience is what helps us, again, not only increase the conversions of people landing, but also making sure that we are able to kind of retain them. We are able to make them again, come back to our website as many times as possible. And that is the key to reducing your customer acquisition cost while increasing your customer lifetime revenue. Great. I think loads of great ideas in the chat. I think really love this discussion. And yeah, I think this is what we feel are the two main ways to increase Shopify conversions based on our years of experience of working with e-commerce brands. Again, there's something which most of you have also echoed in your thoughts, but giving an engaging customer experience, giving a very tailored, personalized experience, and helping customers have a very seamless purchase journey. We want to make sure that customers are able to find what they want seamlessly in a almost zero effort manner, and make sure that they can complete the journey as well without any hassle. And again, the reason this is extremely important is something which we can learn from the way, say, physical stores work, right? Whenever you say walk into a retail store, in most cases, in most high performing stores, what we do see is there is a salesperson. And let's be honest, if we could possibly do it, all of us would want, say, our best salesperson to personally greet every customer, understand what they want, and again, help them complete the purchase journey with no hassle at all. Uh, so this is exactly what we can do today with the power of AI, right? AI helps you build a digital twin of your best salesperson, of your best customer support executive, and again, can position that person right next to each and every one of your buyers. And that is what we feel is the key to maximize your Shopify buyer conversion. And yeah, let's see at how we can actually do that, right? We've all experienced the power of ChatGPT. I'm pretty sure every other person here uses ChatGPT in their day-to-day life. And again, after having used ChatGPT for over the past year now, what we can say with confidence is that if you're not using the power of AI, the person who is using will probably replace you. And that we feel is absolutely true for businesses as well, right? So let's see how we can solve and achieve these ideas with the power of AI, right? Let's start with this. Uh, Again, like Michelle said in the chat, the key to increasing conversions is giving a very personalized journey to each customers. And that starts with making each and every one of your visitor feel very welcomed, right? Making sure that you as a brand understand where the customer is coming from, what they're looking for, and give that experience to them when they land on your website. That again has a very long and lasting impact on the way your customers behave, on how the customers spend their time on your website, how they kind of purchase on your website, and also how they come back to your website to make the orders again and again. So the Black Friday, Cyber Monday campaigns are coming out, and that is one avenue for brands to spend a lot, especially on ads, right? But even when, say, a customer comes to your website from ads, what they like to see is, say, a recall. So whenever a customer clicks on an ad, what they remember is, uh, say, the branding they saw, the poster they saw, the language they saw on the ad. And whenever they feel that the brand kind of is again consistent with that tonality used on the ads, that makes them feel that the journey is extremely seamless. For example, say you run an ad campaign which talks about, in this case, say the BNG earphones, right? And whenever somebody kind of lands on your website, you're able to follow that same messaging from your ad on Instagram, on Facebook, and over to the website as well, so that they know that the journey is seamless. They can just follow it and find what they're looking for. Another big avenue of spending, especially in the festive season, is working with influencers and with other affiliates, right? Again, in this case, let's say we run an ad campaign with PewDiePie. Let's have PewDiePie promoting our brand. If somebody clicks on, say, the link shared by such an influencer and lands on the website, that is the last thing they remember. They remember clicking on the influencer's post. And if we are again able to follow that messaging from the influencer's post down to the website, that can again have a very warm impact on your customers, right? They again feel welcome, they feel at home, that the journey is consistent throughout all the touch points they have. And that again can have a big impact on the conversions. And similarly, existing customers form a huge part of the revenues which we make, right, as brands. One study conducted by Shopify claims that while existing and returning customers make up less than 20% of the traffic which comes to the store, the revenue they contribute is always over 50%. So existing customers, the way we kind of make them feel, can have a big impact on our revenues. So again, for example, in this case, there's a customer who's returning to your website after a very long time, and you are able to kind of personalize the interaction. Let's say you address them by the name, you call out that, hey, Jason, and you also inform them about the new shades which you've launched. That again has a great impact on the customer lifetime value which you can get. And any customer returning to your website is much more likely to kind of go ahead and make that purchase. So giving that personalized journey, making visitors feel welcomed is a key part of making or rather increasing your conversions. And again, similarly, giving a seamless journey and just assisting your buyers to understand what their needs are. And yeah, let me also just play this for you. Understanding the needs and also being, say, a person who recommends what they're looking for is a key in solving this. So in this example, we can see, I'll just roll it back a bit. But yeah, we can see a buyer, for example, coming in and asking for products about hair fall, right? And in this case, AI can help you do this. AI can help you personalize the catalog and the recommendations you give out based on the query asked by each customer. So in this case, again, this person can go ahead, ask a few more questions in a very conversational manner, and they again end up getting the most ideal recommendations of what would work for them. So that is what we believe is a mantra. Recommend products like your customer's best friend. That is what makes them build that relationship with your brand, and which again results in revenues for your business. Taking it just a notch forward, but apart from just recommending products, uh, most of our customers who contribute revenue can also be, say, thorough researchers who like to ask all their questions about products and who also expect real-time responses. The problem with live chat is that human agents can again end up taking a lot of time to reply back to a customer. And for such customers for whom having all the answers is very important before they can say go ahead and make a purchase is critical in their purchase journeys. And that is where AI can help you by being that 24/7 product expert who's on the website guiding each and every one of your buyers to their purchase journeys. Right. In this case, as we can see, the AI agent is entirely driving the conversation, helping the customer with all the queries they have about the price, about any discounts which are available, which ultimately has a much greater impact on the likelihood of the customer purchasing. And finally, just an extension of the earlier discussion, but nudging or rather just prompting your customers at the right time with the right discounts can again have a large impact on their likelihood of making a purchase. Uh, if you're able to understand what a customer's requirements are, and we're able to give them the most relevant discounts and offers, that can help them make that jump as soon as possible. If they find a product which they like, if they're able to have all their questions answered, giving a discount at that time for that particular product can do wonders to your conversion rates. And just continuing on that theme, if you're able to prompt those customers with personalization, right? For example, if somebody comes to a store looking and is looking for a certain product, and if we identify that that product is out of stock, we can again nudge such customers and make sure that we are able to acquire customers. Again, while we spend a lot of dollars on getting traffic to our websites, if we are not able to say acquire new customers, get more leads, and are not able to retarget them later, that is a waste of ad money at the end of the day. So if we are able to understand what customers want, and if they are unable to complete the purchase journey at that moment, collecting leads and just making sure that you're able to grow your customer base can again help you retarget them and further increase the conversion rates. And similarly, like we discussed in the previous topic as well, if you're able to give the right discount at the right time, right now, this again can vary from brand to brand and can vary on the occasion as well, along with the campaigns they're running. For example, in this case, say this beauty and cosmetic store has a discount running, right? If a customer is again looking at this particular collection of beauty clearance sale, it is the best to make sure that we are able to remind all customers that they do have this discount going on at this point of time. And that can help them again increase the conversions. And again, along with discounts, if we can also keep informing our customers about what the most trending products are, that also helps them be in touch with your latest releases and helps them discover the right products, which they're much more likely to purchase. And before we continue, I'll just take a pause here, just open up the floor. Please feel free to interrupt with any questions at any point of time. We are following the chat throughout, and yeah, would love to answer any questions you have. And yes, let's look at a couple of other use cases, right? About how we can make sure that the journey for buyers is tailored and we're able to give them a seamless buying journey. Whenever, say, customers who add things to cart or, for example, also just browse certain products, right? Upselling is a very big opportunity for brands. if you're able to identify customers who are likely to go ahead and say purchase product A, and you know that people who do purchase product A are again likely to purchase product B, uh, again, you can heavily increase your average order values by making sure you can recommend those products at the right time to the most relevant customers who are most likely to go ahead and say purchase a certain product, and making sure that you're able to get twice the order value for again half the customer acquisition cost. So that is how running the right upselling and cross-selling journeys on the website at the right time can help you increase not just your conversions, but also the average order value which you're receiving. And finally, just we just touched upon this when we kind of did start. But for example, the ability to give, say, instant responses to your customers can have a huge impact on the conversion. Because again, the average time a customer spends on the website is way less than 40 to 50 seconds. And most customers, in fact, drop off even before moving to a separate page, right? So if we do identify customers who have certain questions, making sure that we are able to reply back to them instantly can have a big impact on how likely they are to not only just engage with your brand, but also go ahead and say make that purchase. The same goes true for post-order support as well. For example, order tracking can be, again, one of the most common requests which your customer have. But for example, them having to either visit multiple different pages or wait in queue for an agent to get back to them can be really frustrating. And while this doesn't, say, impact the conversion of your buyers for their first purchase, this can have a great impact on how, say, likely they are to come back to your store to place that second order. And making sure that we are able to give a good post-purchase experience to our customers can go a very long way in this. And again, like while we have been talking about how AI can help you address queries instantly, can help you increase the conversion, what you shouldn't forget is that customers at the end of the day are humans, and there might be instances where they probably just want to get connected to a human agent. And again, if you're a brand with, say, a team of support agents, you also want to make sure that your support staff is speaking with the most critical customers, the customers who are the most engaged, the ones who are likely to give you the most business value. You want to make sure that the support staff, who again cost a lot of dollars, are reserved for such customers. And in all other cases, you can have, say, an AI agent tackle the conversations. So these were a few potential use cases, a few different opportunities of how AI can help you increase the conversion rate of your buyers. And these were just some ideas which we had about how AI can help. Would love to hear a question from your side on what works, what doesn't work, what else we can do, and would also love to hear any other ideas which people here might have. And feel free to use the chat, feel free to unmute yourself and speak up.
Hey Manish, this is Abhinav.
Hi,
Manish, just
Abhinav.
wanted to get your viewpoint here.
Mhm,
See, I have my own website as well, but
mhm,
what I've generally seen is I might get a good number of visitors, monthly visitors is what I would say. But at the
mhm,
same time, I find it a bit difficult to maybe retain them and drive conversions in my website, right? So just wanted
mhm,
to understand. I mean, I got your point. Through AI, definitely we can improve the conversions and improve the attention rate as well. But
mhm.
I just wanted to know your opinion as well, or if you have some other ideas on how to maybe engage them in the website.
Understood, Abhinav. And trust me, you're not the only one facing this challenge, right? If you look at just global numbers, e-commerce website across the world have an average conversion rate of less than 2.5 percentage. So say less than 5 people of every 200 people visiting your website will actually go ahead and place an order. And that is what we're here to discuss, right? How we can probably engage them better. And like we mentioned, giving that personalized touch can help you engage your customers much better, making sure that they know they have someone on the website. They can probably just go ahead, ask a question, get personalized recommendations, and who can also help, say, answer any questions they might have. So engaging your customers at the right time, when they are, say, uh, more likely to go ahead and complete a purchase, can help you increase your conversions.
So I have a question. So I sell educational products for K-12. And
Right.
teachers will come to our website and try to figure out what's the right product for them. How does AI know which way to direct them based on whether they want to teach math, science, and third grade versus eighth grade? Like, how does the AI know that to tell the teacher the right thing?
Understood. Sure, Marcy. And right, I think that's a very valid problem, right? What most brands actually face is that they have a large catalog, which can cater to a different set of customer base. But what we want to make sure is that the recommendations we give to, say, a teacher teaching third grade math is different from somebody who's teaching 12th grade science, right? And there are a couple of ways in which AI can do that, right? While we can't uh, say entirely predict what a person is looking for, we can always make it simpler for them to discover what they want, right? For example, in the examples which we saw, we can probably nudge and share possible, say, products which a person could be looking for. For example, are you looking for math products, or are you looking for, say, uh, books for students of class 8th? Could be potential or other possible questions which we recommend to buyers. And that kind of helps the buyers understand that they can actually go ahead and ask anything they want in a very conversational manner. Because again, traditional e-commerce can require a lot of effort from buyers to go ahead and find what they're looking for. That can involve either going through a lot of catalog pages or going through a lot of, say, painful search. If you're able to make our customers understand that there is a very conversational nature of finding products which they want, uh, again, after that is the AI which can take over. It can engage your customers in that conversation, keep asking questions to understand what they want, and then give them the most ideal recommendations of what can help solve their problem.
So, but is the AI learning off of itself, or are we just kind of creating an algorithm for it? Because like that, I'm a little unclear, like how does it know to change its answer? Unless someone's like, no, that was wrong. I didn't like that product. Like, how does it improve its knowledge over time?
Sure. So a couple of ways. I think to start with, the AI can again kind of learn everything from your catalog, right? It understands all your products inside out, and it knows based on, say, each and every question coming from your customers, that what could be the most ideal product for that person. For example, if somebody comes in and just starts by saying that I'm a teacher for students of grade 8th, it knows all the products, all the say, items in your catalog which are relevant for that category, and then can take the conversation forward from that point. Now it knows that there is a limited set of products which have to be recommended, and every question can kind of help it refine the recommendations. You can probably then ask about what particular subject a person is looking for, any other, say, specifications they have in mind, and that helps it refine the recommendations they can give out.
Thank you.
Sure. We also have a question coming in the chat. This is from Jatin Budlani. Jatin says, I have a few customers from Spain as well. Will, or rather, can AI answer them in Spanish language? Uh, Definitely, Jatin. I think that is one of the powers of AI, and especially conversational AI, right? The ability to understand different languages, and also the ability to respond back to them in that same language. So the beauty of that is you don't even need to have your catalog, say, set up in Spanish. You can have your catalog, your product descriptions done in English. And that again can help, say, the AI assistant, answer any questions which come up in Spanish. So again, this makes sure that you don't lose out on any customers coming from Spain. You're able to engage and also convert such customers. Sure. We also have a question from Ayush, and I can see a +1 from Marcy as well. Let me just read out Ayush's question. do you think we need to feed this information to GPT or it can train from website? Sure, Ayush. So I think again that's a very relevant question and something which most brands are actually afraid of, right? Because we've seen traditional chatbots work this way, that most and all of them require, say, a very intensive effort to kind of set up, to configure, and to train them. But again, with GPT, with AI, the best part is that there's almost zero effort which you need to put in. By default, this has, say, access to all the data about your products on the website. For example, the AI can read the descriptions of all the products you have added, any pages you might have added. Now, this could be, say, a policy page, an FAQ page, any other blogs you might have. And now it has access to all this information to go ahead and answer any questions any buyer might have, right? And so far, all you've done is you put in zero effort to actually train the assistant. So it takes all this information, it then kind of goes ahead, gets trained on that automatically. And then any question which comes, say, relevant to any of this information can be answered. And again, following up to Jatin's question, can be answered in any language. Ayush, I hope that answers your question. And great, we have one more question from Sumit. And Sumit here says, can you help to know more how AI will help to give discount on personalized way? Sure, Sumit. I think there are, again, a few different ways to do this, right? But the key, like we all kind of understand, is to make sure that we can give the right discount to the right customer at the right point of time, right? So we can either go ahead and say share information about any offers, any sales going on, relevant to, say, the products being browsed by a particular customer. We can understand which, say, particular collection a person is viewing, which particular product somebody is viewing, and we can give personalized discounts about that at the right time. For example, if you understand that a customer has been looking at a certain product for some time, they've been, say, going through the FAQs, went ahead and asked a few questions about that. You can now understand that that customer is, say, engaged and interested in that product. Now that could be a good time to give, say, a discount about that specific product to that person, which makes sure that they're able to kind of make that decision and go ahead and make that purchase. So that is one way to give personalized discounts using AI, tracking the behavior of your customers and also tracking the conversations which they're having. Great. We have another question from Avinav. And just want to take a minute and kind of thank everybody here. I think it's great that we are seeing such a high amount of participation. And again, I really love it when these webinars are kind of interactive. Doesn't have to be a monologue at times. Again, the more we share, the more we learn. So really happy for the questions coming in, guys. I think let's keep it going. Right. So Abhinav here asks, what if I want to train GPT with information which do not have in website, but rather elsewhere? Again, great question, Abhinav. I think we have actually seen these situations, right? Where, say, somebody might not want to have some information publicly visible on the website, but would like, say, their AI assistant to have access to that. So again, with our product, even that is possible. We can go ahead, train or rather feed custom data, which is not readily available on the Shopify website, and make sure that the AI assistant has access to it. And once that training is done, there is, again, no difference in the way, say, this information is treated as compared to something fetched from Shopify. All that is data which the AI has, and it can use that to answer any questions relevant to that. Abhinav, I hope that answers your question, but feel free to kind of follow up if there's something which I might have missed, or if you have a specific use case in mind about what kind of information is not available on the website, but you want, say, your AI assistant to have. Great, guys. I think let's probably proceed with the webinar. I think we can again have a Q&A round towards the end. But again, feel free to kind of share any questions you have on the chat. And rest assured, we'll have a Q&A session again towards the end. So if you have any questions, you can save them towards the end as well. But yeah, just continuing with this. we've kind of discussed the different possibilities which can be unlocked with ChatGPT, right? And we've seen a few questions as well about how, for example, we can train this on your Shopify website, how you can say feed additional data and how different languages can be handled, right? So this is our solution to all the problems that you've discussed so far. Uh, this is our own AI shopping assistant, right? And we call it Manifest AI. And again, this is as good as ChatGPT, but trained specifically on your Shopify store, right? This is the vision of a Manifest AI was to make sure that we are able to create a digital twin of, say, your best sales as a salesperson, and make sure that every buyer, every customer who visits your store has access to that. And this assistant can not only help you engage your customers, but can also make sure that your conversion rates are increased, your customer acquisition costs come down, while you spend close to nothing as compared to what you would spend on real live agents. Again, like I mentioned at the start of the webinar, we can probably go ahead and look at some real life use cases, right? About how Manifest can help brands improve their customer experience. So just a comparison between two skincare brands, one which does use Manifest and the other which does not, right? So on my left, I can see Dr. Swatch, right? The really large, the uber large soap manufacturer. And this is the experience which somebody would have when they, for example, go to the live chat of Dr. Swatch and ask for something, say, for dry skin, right? The reply which comes out is a blog article which talks about which bars are best for oily skin, whereas the question was actually about dry skin. And here again, the onus, the responsibility is on the buyer to go ahead, click the article, again, read through all the hundreds of words written there, and then, for example, go ahead and identify what can actually work for them, right? Whereas if you look on the right side of the screen, what you see is a brand with Manifest AI. This again is a really large skincare brand based out of the USA. It's called Mitchell Brands and is actually a very mission-driven brand. The goal of Mitchell Brands is to provide skincare specifically for African American women. And like you can see, if you go ahead, ask that same question, suggest me something for my dry skin on Mitchell Brands, this is the answer you'd be seeing, right? It understands what you're looking for. It can browse through the entire catalog and recommend you the most relevant products. Now, again, at this point of time, I can go ahead, continue the conversation in a very intuitive, easy to understand manner and get, or rather find the product which suits my requirements the best. Some other examples again with Mitchell brand, right, is, say in this case, if somebody comes and asks something for anti-aging, right, we not only recommend, say, our best products, but also kind of explain what actually works about this and give a way for customers to continue the conversation, to help them understand more about each of these products and recommend the most ideal one and helps the customer kind of complete the purchase journey. Similar example on the right. This is from Panda Slippers, an Australian footwear brand known for their really light, breezy, and comfortable footwear. And this is how it kind of helps customers find exactly what they're looking for and increase the conversion rate. And like we discussed at the beginning, while purchase journeys are extremely important to how well we can convert customers, the ability to kind of provide a good and seamless post-order journey to customers is equally important to make sure that they have that good experience with your brand, they keep coming back for more and more, and you get the maximum customer lifetime value out of each customer. In this case, again, tracking order can be extremely seamless. For customers, there is no additional effort which you have to put in. Again, the AI assistant is automatically trained on all the orders which are placed and can help customers find and track their order and can also inform them, say, in case there is any update or any, say, information which the customer should be aware of. And I think we actually had this question coming in from Jatin, if I'm not wrong. But for example, this is how we can also address questions coming in, say in any language. So on my right, this is actually a website which is based out of Switzerland. They again are into first aid kits, especially again this came into light after the world faced a lot of incidents in the Alps, especially with skiing and other such adventurous sports. And this is the mission of the brand, to kind of help adventurers, travelers carry their own first aid kits and make sure that they're able to reduce incidents as much as possible. Now, while this website is based out of Switzerland, while their entire catalog is set up in English, in this case, where say a customer comes in, asks a question in Spanish, they're still able to go ahead and answer the question again back in Spanish, so that they're able to engage customers who speak a different language without any additional effort in setting up a different catalog and setting up a different set of descriptions. And that is the power of AI. So just to kind of sum it up, these are, say, the most salient and key features of Manifest. Uh, Again, like we've seen, breaking the language barrier is something which will take zero effort with an AI assistant. And this entirely understands the intent as well as what your customers are actually looking for. Now, this can have any typographical mistakes, this can have any tonality of language which is used. The AI assistant can understand what your customers are looking for and then can respond in the best way possible. Personalization, again, is something which we understand is crucial to brands, right? Especially given that your website is a really important real estate. We want to make sure that you can personalize the assistant entirely. And that could be its visual appearance, that could be the delay in terms of prompting customers, or could also be the tonality in which the AI assistant speaks. You get to choose what is the brand voice you want the AI assistant to adopt, and you can make sure it's consistent with the personality of your brand in general. Again, like we mentioned, integration, or rather the ability for customers to reach out to real life humans, can be important. Even while AI can answer most of the questions, there might be cases where, say, critical customers could have questions they want to ask a real person. So we again integrate with live chat platforms like Gorgias to make sure that your, say, live support agents can reach out to customers and reply to them whenever required. And I believe this also answers the question asked by Abhinav, if I'm not wrong, in the chat. But you can again go ahead, add any custom data you want to do that. And now this data might not be available on your Shopify website, but you can go ahead, train the assistant on this, and the assistant can then go ahead and answer any questions which can be answered by this data. And ultimately, as a merchant, as a business in general, what is really important to us is we are able to track what is the impact being generated, right? And that is why analytics has been a key part of the offering we have developed. We want to make sure that you can track all the key metrics, you can see all the conversations going on, you can understand what customers are talking about, you can understand uh, how long each conversation goes on, and that can help you take better decisions on how to, say, position the assistant, and also help you understand what your customers actually want. So again, just an anecdote, but one thing which one of the brands we've been working with kind of realized is there are a few products which most people were actually talking about, and then they went ahead and put up a special sale only on those products which they understood that most customers actually want, and that had a really big impact on the conversions they saw over the duration of that campaign. So again, these are things which can help you get real-time first-hand feedback about your website from customers. And again, you don't need to really depend on things like heat maps or any other, say, data collection tools. You have the voice of the customer in a conversational manner, and that can help you enhance your website even further. Right. And this is probably, again, the most important part for us as business owners, right? This is what we get to earn. This is what we get to take away in terms of the business impact. The bounce rates are going to plummet as you're able to engage your customers better. With the power of AI, you can significantly reduce the agent costs which you face, right? Some of the brands we've been working with have been able to reduce up to 80% of the cost they had to incur earlier for, say, hiring real human agents. And the best part is that at, say, a fraction of the cost, we get a 24/7 extremely knowledgeable, extremely friendly, and extremely tireless AI assistant who can do this on your website. Both of this put together again have two critical impacts on your business. A reduced cost of acquisition. As you're able to acquire more leads, as you're able to convert and engage more customers, you can see that the cost of acquisition of each customer goes down. You're able to convert more of your traffic into buyers, and also increase the conversion by, again, some of the brands have actually seen again, not just 15%, but some of, for example, our top brands have been able to double the conversion rates before manifest and after manifest. Again, what works the best is making sure that we're able to give those personalized, tailored recommendations and help buyers with any questions they might have. So yeah, I think this was a brief about Manifest AI. I think just want to take a couple of minutes again here to go ahead and answer any questions you have. We actually have a question in the chat from Marcy. I'll just read it out for everyone. And yeah, we can probably then go ahead, have a quick Q&A session, and would also love to hear your thoughts on if you want to try a similar AI assistant on your Shopify store. But while you all kind of go ahead, leave the answer in the chat, I'll just read out Marcy's question. So Marcy says, if a teacher is looking for a specific form, like a W-9 form, tax exempt form, or lesson plan, will it link the customer to the document? Absolutely, Marcy. So if these specific forms, say, have been added as products in your Shopify store, again, you can help me understand that a bit better. But if you're able to understand what, say, a customer is looking for, we can give them, say, the specific link. And in terms of products, could be product cards as well, which help your customers visualize what that looks like, and help them give them an easy way to navigate to that product and complete the purchase. If the forms you're referring to are, say, some other links, and again, that can also be done. For example, we can train the assistant on what kinds of forms, say, work for each specific use case. And that again can be shared as links whenever a question comes up. But Marcy, would love to understand a bit more on that. Are these like products which are added on your store?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Right. So you mentioned that, for example, W-9 form, the tax exempt form, or lesson plan, are these products added on your Shopify store? Are these
The lesson plans are all on our website. Right now, we don't have W-9s in other forms, but we could load them into the files. So I was wondering if we could direct customers directly to that file, so they don't have to email me and ask me for my W-9, but it's right there.
Absolutely. I think we can definitely do that. Like you mentioned, if it's available on the website, it's automatically fetched by the assistant. Otherwise, for example, with your W-9 forms, you can go ahead, upload that separately, and that can again be shared with customers as and when they ask for that.
Would it read documents as well? Like if customers have questions about a lesson plan, would it read a document and understand the document, or only the text that's on Shopify directly?
Okay, so a bit of both, right? So again, text which is added to Shopify is always readily accessible. So the AI assistant will go through all the text added on the Shopify website and access that. If you're referring to, say, any other links which are added, that is also available to the assistant. For example, it knows that this specific link is about this purpose. So while the assistant would not be able to, for example, visit that specific link and read information in that, it can still understand what that link is supposed to do, and, for example, when that should be shared with the customer who asked that.
Okay. Thank you.
Great. So I can just want to remind everybody, if feel free to drop this in the chat. But how many of you here would like to kind of try a similar assistant on your Shopify website?
Hi there.
I think
sorry to interrupt.
No, please go ahead.
Hi. Yeah, I have got an office furniture store that we run through Shopify, and it's great. It's all running really well. Just when I guess I saw an example about the panda footwear, and it said that the certain footwear goes really well with the black dress. That's real
Right.
kind of like human sentiment. How do you train that, or is that something that is just pulled out of GPT? Like, for example, if someone was to buy a desk in a certain color, would it say, hey, you could get this drawer mobile, would look really great in your space? You know, adding that sort of emotion kind of language, is that just something that is instinctual with ChatGPT for this kind of thing, or?
Right, Michelle, sure. So I'll answer that in two parts. I think firstly, like you mentioned, OpenAI again has done a great job with the launch of their GPT model. That again is very conversational in nature. But what we have done is we've kind of built a layer of e-commerce on top of that, right? While GPT is well versed to handle, say, natural conversations, the ability to understand e-commerce intents and the ability to map that with, say, your products is what we've kind of built ahead, right? So we pick the best of both worlds. We understand your store in in thorough detail. We understand your products, the different kinds of attributes of each product, any other say blogs you might have added, so that we know, for example, which product goes the best with something else. And then when a customer comes in with say a natural language query, we can understand what that particular person is looking for. Give that relevant information to the assistant, so that, for example, if somebody says they want something to go with black shoes, now we give it a set of recommendations that these three products go best with black shoes. And then the assistant can combine both those, say, information, both those pieces of data, and then reply back in a very human manner. For example, product A could go very well with those black shoes because this probably, say, comes in white.
So then we would set that up ourselves as opposed to it gaining the information itself. We would train it to do that or to come up with the recommendations. Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah.
So,
I guess it's kind of hard to get your head around, to think, well, we're going to be handing over our whole store to a robot to manage. And I guess you want it to be accurate. And how do you trust that it will be accurate, that this desk goes with this chair? Does it pick up past orders
Right.
to see what other people have ordered? It just seems like a big mystery.
No, sure, Michelle. I think that is also one of the most common questions which we've been getting from the brand. And just wanted to add a couple of points. I'll answer your question first, right? About, say, does it track, say, previous order history? So again, it does have access to the past orders. It can always go ahead and understand, say, what are the most trending products, what are the most best-selling products in a specific collection, right? Just based on how many orders, say, each product has been getting. And that helps you to understand which products to recommend. For example, if somebody is looking for something in the sandals collection, so we have access to what are the most, say, selling sandals in that particular collection. And if somebody comes in, we can actually go ahead and recommend that. And like you mentioned, handing over, say, your store to a robot can be scary. And that was the most common question I was referring to, which brands again ask. And that is why our team again makes sure that we can handhold you through the entire onboarding process. And while the AI assistant does kind of get trained on your store automatically, we also make sure that we are able to work along with brands to make sure they are satisfied with the responses. They are able to, say, further refine that assistant. So like most of our brands themselves come back to us and say, the assistant can answer 90 to 95% of questions without any effort. But what we help brands do is take that from say 95 to 100% to make sure that brands, before say making this live on the website, are absolutely satisfied with the quality of responses, the quality of recommendations, and can only then go live.
Well, that's great. So you can see responses and see whether it's accurate or not. And then, yeah, I guess it's only until real life customers actually put a question though that you'd find that out, right?
That is true, yes. Again, while we try to help brands kind of cover the most common questions, most different types of questions, we also help them add any details which might be missing. Again, what can happen with in real life cases is customers could have questions which probably are actually not available on the website at all. And that is actually learning for the brand as well as us. we can actually highlight that to the brand to help them kind of go ahead, add that detail as well. And just it all process of adding these questions also kind of becomes simpler with an AI assistant. And you can just keep adding that extra information to the assistant without kind of cluttering your website, but while making sure that your customers, if they have similar questions, do get the answer they're looking for.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, Manish. This is Ayush. I have a
Hi,
follow-up
Ayush.
question post mission, which is also asked for the relevant ones. So basically, I have two questions. First of all, can we test the bot before making it live so that we can try the responses before it is available to our end customers? And secondly, can we also have the option to see real life conversation which customers are making with the bot so that we can identify if it is giving the right responses or if it needs more trading?
Understood, Ayush. Sure, I think we'll answer both of them, both of your questions. Firstly, it is absolutely possible to test that. And in fact, we highly recommend brands to kind of go ahead, test the assistant themselves, and actually go ahead, share with the team as well. So we can help brands kind of simulate how the assistant would work on their store, on their website, without actually making it live to the entire audience. We have something called as a test mode, which helps brand get a simulation of how the AI assistant would work on their store. And again, we handhold brands with kind of making that decision before they can actually go ahead and go live. We help them test the bot. We also say add any additional information which can be required to better answer questions. And only once the brands are satisfied in the test mode do they actually go live in most cases. So testing is absolutely possible. To answer your second
Great.
question, Ayush, right. To answer your second question, yes, you can definitely access all the conversations. So in the dashboard, you have a neat little view of every conversation at a customer level going on. So like you mentioned, it's always important for us to not just keep a track of, say, the quality of responses, what people are talking about, but can also be a great way of learning what actually customers want, right? What most people are talking about, what kinds of products they're looking for, and that is available on the dashboard. So apart from just say a raw view of all the conversations, we also have more analytics built around that. For example, what is the average depth of a conversation? How much time does each customer spend talking to the AI assistant? And what are the products which each customer interacts the most with?
Got it. So you mean to say by default, we also get the transcript of conversation happening apart from the regular analytics?
That is right, yes. You have access to the entire
Got it.
conversations which happen.
Got it. Nice, nice.
Me again. Is there any chance we could have a look at what it looks like from the merchant area, what the dashboard looks like during the session, just to see how it's managed?
Sure, Michelle, absolutely. Let me go ahead and share my screen. I'm actually logged into one of our brand's dashboard. If you could just give me a minute while I share my screen. Please let me know if you can see my screen here. Oh yeah, great. So this is how the dashboard looks like, right? And again, we kind of just make sure it's visible up and front, all the key analytics which you want. So you can track how many people have been visiting your website, how many of the customers have been talking, what is the average depth of a message, how much time does each customer spend. And for example, again, a few more analytics around that. So what is the conversion rate of customers who say interact with the assistant and of those customers who don't interact with the assistant? For example, in this case, we see a clear demarcation. There is an over 200% uplift here in conversion rate of people who interact with the assistant as compared to ones who don't. Again, a few more analytics around that about, say, what is the average order value of people who kind of interact with the assistant. And I'll just give you a walkthrough of the entire section. I used to answer your question. This is, for example, the view of the transcript, which you as a business owner would get, right? You can look at what are the questions which, say, customers are asking for. For example, in this case, somebody comes, ask about, say, eye mask for under eye bags, right? And we can look at the products which are actually being recommended here. And you can also see every message being sent by the AI assistant, right? And again, this is the entire list of conversations which kind of happen with all your customers. And again, you have a different set of filters available as well if you want to kind of deep dive into a specific intent. For example, if you want to look at how the conversations of customers who probably want to track their orders are, you can again do all that here. If you want to pin some chats, you want to star some chats for, say, referring to them in the future, for sharing with your team, you can also do that. You can star, pin any conversations. And again, what this also helps you kind of keep a track is of all the leads which you collected. For example, while most customers here are anonymous, what the assistant has helped the brand achieve is we are also able to collect leads. For example, these are 2 customers which the brand has kind of gone ahead and acquired via the assistant. Right, and this is what we call as the customize section. This gives you entire control over the visual look and feel uh, of the assistant which you want to control, right? So you can customize everything from the name to the interface colors to the avatar which you kind of want to showcase to the world, to also things like what is, say, the positioning of the assistant on the website. How and where do you want it to be kind of positioned? And again, you can customize this specifically for each different page, for each different design, for each different device. You have complete control over all of that. Right, a few things in terms of what we call as the behavior section. You can define, say, any nudges you want to show to your buyers, and you get to define after what, say, either time duration or scroll duration you want to kind of give that nudge to your buyers. You can also go ahead, say, define the tonality of the assistant. For example, this is again a very hip skincare brand, and they wanted to go with a playful tonality. But again, this entirely depends on your brand, how you want to position yourself. You can choose from, say, professional, friendly, empathetic, whatever, say, is in line with your brand. A few other options for us to kind of, say, control the agent handoff flows as well. If somebody, say, wants to speak with a real life agent, you get to choose how you want to do that. You can either, say, give them a link to be referred to, or you can also collect their lead to make sure that your team can then reach out to them later. And we've had a few questions coming around this. I think Abhinav asked about this, and so did Marcy. But this is how, for example, you can also go ahead, add your own custom files, right? You can add in any files, and that will be data which is available to the assistant to go ahead and answer questions based out of. And even apart from that, by default, all links and web pages added on your Shopify store are synced and available to the assistant. So as you can see here, the assistant has kind of been trained on all these links added to the store here. And all these are pulled in and fetched automatically. The final section is just a view of all the products you have. And again, you have control here as well. You can, for example, choose to turn off or on the visibility of the assistant in case you want to, say, not merchandise some products. You get to do that. If you don't want the assistant to recommend some products, you can control it from here. And finally, a greater view of all the analytics which you have. We kind of categorize this into 4 different sections. Analytics about all the sales which you get. This includes, say, conversion rate, the add to carts, and any orders which you might have placed. And some more details about the interactions, the engagements going on, and insights about the products. For example, what are the most, say, talked about products, like we can see in this case as well. This can take a minute in case of, say, large stores, but usually gets fixed soon. But yeah, what we help you understand as a brand is, say, what are the most talked about products on your store. And that can help you, for example, customize any, say, campaigns you want to run, or if you want to kind of showcase certain products more. For example, in this case, we can see that 8 customers have been redirected to a different set of products. And you get to understand what are those products which most people are talking about. And that can help you take a decision about how to merchandise them better, how to promote them on your website, and then ultimately increase your conversions. Michelle, I hope that answers your question, but feel free if you want me to kind of dive deeper into any specific aspect.
No, that's really good just to see it like that. In the top announcement bar there, you've got the spotted incorrect replies. Quickly fix it with us. So is that something, so when you were over in the messages section and you were checking it one day saying you can see that it didn't give the correct reply, is that where you'd go ahead and adjust it? So it's probably a good idea to keep an eye on the messages coming through regularly.
That is right. Yes, correct.
So you can manage.
And our team,
yeah.
Absolutely. I think like you and Ayush mentioned, it's important for brands to kind of keep a track of the conversations coming in, to kind of understand if there's, say, any questions which customers are asking for which, say, enough information is not available. So that helps us keep a track of that, keep adding more information to make sure all customer queries are answered. But great
Perfect.
catch there, Michelle.
And I've just got one more question as well. So
Please.
is it, so when a customer's on the website, does the chat pop up and ask them straight away? Does it automatically try and interact with the customer, or does the customer have to click on the widget for them to interact?
Sure, I think great question, Michelle. You actually get to control that, right? So this is the way for you to kind of control how you want it to behave. So for some brands, it actually makes sense to kind of give a pop-up and just ask customers if they want to ask anything specific. And you get to control when it should kind of go ahead and pop up. You can choose to give that nudge, that prompt after, say, 10 seconds a customer has spent on a page. Or you can also set it to, for example, pop up after a customer has scrolled through a page. In this case, say they wanted it to pop up after somebody has scrolled 70% of the page. But again, for your brand, if you kind of don't want to give that, say, pop-up nudge to buyers, you can also decide to turn it off.
That's
But yeah,
great.
you get to control how you want it to behave.
That's great. Thank you.
Sure. I think we do have a couple of questions from Marcy. Right, let me read out the first one. Marcy says, when it cannot answer a question, how do we know it's time to reach out to the customer? Right, Marcy. So what we actually kind of built in here is if we ever face a situation where the AI assistant does not, say, have an answer, we give a neat little option for buyers to actually talk to a human person. For example, if we identify that a customer has, say, asked for product A, maybe about a detail about product A, and that is not available in the information we have, we give them an option that right now the data is not available with the assistant, and if they would like to speak with a human agent, and that can again take them to the agent handover flow. And again, that is something which you can define. If you want to, for example, give them a link where buyers can go and talk to you, and that could be a mail to link, that could be a contact us page, like for example in this case, or you could also say collect the email ID of your buyers. Whenever such a situation comes up, you get to acquire those leads, and your team also gets a notification about the same. That, for example, a customer called, let's say Michelle, has reached out to you. This is her email address, and you can reply back to her at this email ID. And what your team also gets is a snippet of the conversation. For example, there were, say, 8 messages exchanged between, say, this Michelle and your assistant. Your team gets to see what the conversation was. They can understand what that customer was looking for and can then respond in a similar manner. Great. I think Ayush also had a similar question. Ayush, Marcy, I think this answers that. I can see another question from Marcy, that is from your initial data. What percentage of visitors use the chat? Again, great question, Marcy. This depends a lot on, for example, things like this, right? Most brands want to make sure that most visitors are actually engaging with the AI assistant. So they might want to kind of show a pop-up after some time to make sure they're able to engage customers, right? So kind of depends on how the brands customize the appearance, customize the behavior, and also kind of go ahead and set up the entire conversation. But what we've seen is this can vary somewhere between, say, from 10% to around 0.5%. based on if somebody say does not want to kind of show the entry point message. But again, that varies a lot on how you kind of want to set it up, how much say prompts you want to give to engage your customers.